But as I was saying, simple message behind this movie. Something you could tell to a kid. Very basic. But told in probably the freakiest movie this year. This thing's insane. It really is. A big birthday gift for me, my birthday's next month. A big birthday gift for me is if you came out to see the 1 year anniversary of me doing sit down comedy at the Broadway Comedy Club. Going to be back in the Red Room September 27th. Oz will join me later as we just sit down and just lollygag with the audience. And then we're going to have all of you up for open mic. And that show, again, is going to be 9 p.m. at the Broadway Comedy Club. That's a Friday. Get your tickets now by going over to BroadwayComedyClub.com. Let's go ahead and talk about this review that a lot of you asked for, and a lot of people are talking about this. This movie's, I'm gonna let you know right now, I don't even know how this is gonna perform for us on things like YouTube or something, because it's not a high performing film as far as it's premiered this weekend.
They've been advertising the shit out of it.
Well, people have been talking about this movie, talking about, damn, that's nasty. Yeah. This might be the nastiest movie of the year. It's just disgusting, and I love it, is what a lot of people are saying. And so what is this old nasty-ass movie that we are talking about, people? A lot of people said for Sunday, why don't y'all talk about that substance? And people not even talking about the substance being the nastiest thing in the movie. They talking about Dennis Quaid's mouth. Before we even get to the substance, we got to watch this man eat. And it's one of the nastiest things in cinema I've seen this year. He stuffed his mouth with shrimp, big old greasy lips. You can only imagine what his breath smelled like with that on there. And Dennis Quaid is crazy anyway. So, yeah, people, that alone, just watching a man eat is one of the most disgusting things you've seen in movies this year. Now, just imagine how the rest of this movie is going to be. But I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of things that make this movie appealing for horror fans out there. Because this is a horror movie that uses rules. You know, it's something where they have a thing and they set up rules so we can see how bad people break them. You know, think about things like, you know, think about some of your favorite horror movies or stories out there with rules. You know, old Monkey's Paw, Gremlins, and anything in between that. You know, whenever they put out rules and say, don't do this thing or this number of things, especially, I love it when it's a number of things, because you know the person he's gonna break all those rules. every one of them is gonna get broken. And we cannot wait to see what the consequences are going to be.
Sure, because we are a people or a society that loves to have rules and to love to see consequences to the people who don't follow those rules. Oh, yeah.
The rules are the gift wrap. The consequences are what's inside the box.
Right.
Ooh, I can't wait till Christmas to see how you.
I like that.
Yeah, man. That's what these movies are all about with rules. That's the payoff. You know, the payoff is our curiosity is piqued. Oh, when they mess up, what are going to be the terrible things that will happen? Oh, what terrible creature will pop up? And, you know, and plus, it's our nature to instigate too. Because as an audience, you know, we push the people in the movie. I'm yelling at the movie all the time. Don't listen to them. Don't be a bitch. Break them rules, man. What's the worst that can happen? Don't be a scatty bitch.
Well, come on. If they don't break the rules, we don't have a movie.
Exactly. I always use that saying, rules are meant to be broken. Open that goddamn box. Feed that gremlin after midnight. See what that,
right.
Hey, that gremlin hungry, man. You gonna let him starve?
Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, man. Shit, don't that monkey's paw for you, man. You wish what you want to wish. Get whatever you want to. You found it.
Yeah, give that Mogwai a bath, pussy.
Yeah. Yeah, what kind of pet owner are you? Your damn gremlin over there hungry, you letting it starve. I don't give a damn if it's past midnight.
You gonna listen to some old Chinese man and you gonna do what you want to do.
Exactly. Hey, man. Shit, what is it, 9 o'clock? Man, it's midnight somewhere, so it don't matter.
This is America. You have freedom.
Yeah, give me that piece of chicken here, man. Ooh, okay. Ooh. You gay? Oh, no, ain't my Mogwai. That's yours.
I ain't tell you to do it. You exactly told me to do it. You ain't have to listen.
Hey,
what the old Chinese man say?
Shit, that's when I get Denzel. Hey, you made a decision. Live with your decision. Hey, ain't that right, Gizmo? Yeah, man. So that's what we have here. Rules. The plot here centered around rules. We have Demi Moore, who plays Elizabeth Sparkles. She's an actress who later is turned into a TV aerobics instructor who just committed a horrible, horrible crime. She got old. And listen, age is relative, all right? I'm looking at Demi Moore in this movie. I'm gonna tell you something. They show a lot of Demi Moore here, man. She is beautiful. She has an excellent body. But the business that she's in, which is entertainment, in this movie right here, it is not very forgiving to women who pass a certain age. I know a lot of you know what I'm talking about. And now they're looking for fresh young talent out there. But maybe there's hope for her. She's told she's a prime candidate for the substance. And that substance right here is actually a service that boasts that they can make a younger, better you. Now, that's kind of, that's a big sales pitch right there. A little bit shady the way it goes down. I mean, you get a call from somebody who is a bodiless voice. They don't tell you anything about the company. They don't tell you to go to the store to meet them, anything. You never meet this person. They just send you a mysterious box with a bunch of fluids in it.
They send you to an Amazon locker.
There you go.
With a box in it.
With a bunch of fluids in it. Yeah. There's a bunch of goo that they send you. And she says, you know what, well, sign me up. That's just what I need right now.
Okay, so it sounds like right off the bat, you as the audience member going like, well, this is on you for going with that, because I would never do that.
No, some people are like, you know what, this sounds like a good idea. Come on, man. You know how we all are. Hey, you know what? Let's see how this works out. You know, if it works for you, I might get it too. Tell a friend and tell another friend. But here's where the rules for the younger you come in. You and your new self, you have to alternate, because it's not turning you into a younger person. You are actually being split up into two different people. So you're giving pretty much birth to a younger person. And so the trade-off here is that you take a week off, just laying on the floor unconscious, while the younger you takes fluids from your body and goes and lives their young, beautiful life. Meanwhile, you wake up and you just watch them live their young, beautiful life. Yeah, I don't know what the appeal here is myself. So that leads some people to think like, well, damn, that sounds kind of stupid. Doesn't even sound fun. Why would I want to watch a movie about that? Well, let's go ahead and see the trailer, and we'll tell you more on why people are loving this movie and why we maybe do, maybe don't. Right after this.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? Younger.
That's another thing. She just, everywhere she goes, people are just like, you ain't shit. You old hag. Just tearing pictures down of her head.
You're expired.
Yeah. Which, like I said, man, this movie really is about, it's really about, what would you say, like,
I would just say
a body image.
It's about body image told through Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah, it's about body image, self-worth through that image, how society looks at you and how society pushes people into almost self-hatred because of how they say you're supposed to look.
More beautiful, more perfect. You can't escape from yourself.
You can't get away from yourself, so don't try to find an easy way out. Suck it up, self-improve. Just get better. Or be graceful, whatever it is, aging, whatever it is. Or be more confident and don't let people dictate how you should be and how you should have the value of your self-worth. You know, it's a very simple message right there. Almost a message you tell a kid. But done in the freakiest, what the hell is that? Is that the substance calling you? Right now.
You must have said some things that set this phone off.
Oh, damn, Martin. I thought they were calling you to get a better, younger you.
There is no better younger me.
And you know what? It was funny because he was looking at you like, will you cut your shit off?
Yeah, I was making sure. I was like, that ain't me. I silenced my shit.
He looked at you like, will you please shut the How rude. He was looking at you the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, that's
I wasn't thinking that. I just thought it was him because I always keep mine on silent also. So it was just like, Well, that can't be. Surely that can't be me.
Martin's, he thought his penis was talking to him. What do you want? It's not the time.
I heard better version of myself.
But as I was saying, simple message behind this movie. Something you could tell to a kid. Very basic. But told in probably the freakiest movie this year. This thing's insane. It really is. And I loved it for that. I can see why people talk about this movie. I'm saying this right now because a lot of people, it's still not going to be on a lot of people's mainstream radar out there. In fact, this opened up this weekend at number 6 at the box office. And it's probably because this is a company that put it out that hasn't really pushed it a whole lot. Probably didn't have a huge release.
I saw the budget was like under $20 million, which is incredible because it looks like 50.
But man, let me just say the reason why this movie really works is because, yes, it's sick, it's insane, it's demented, this movie right here, and everybody who's cast in this movie is like, I'm with it. I'm all in. I'm you know what, this movie's crazy, I'm gonna be twice as crazy.
So let me ask you this. Is it a problem that Margaret Qualley looks nothing like Demi Moore?
No.
Okay.
That's a small detail right there. That's nothing to even worry about. Believe me, there are bigger things in this movie.
Okay.
that would overshadow that question. There's, and really the circumstances of it, you would say, I could see how this probably does not need to be, because it's a younger person, but it's, and they say that they're the same, but the way that this other person is created, you got a little leeway on how she looks.
Okay. You got to accept the journey this movie's going to take you on.
Yeah.
And walking out, I did have plot holes and stuff, but when I thought about it, it's like, oh yeah, this takes place in Hollywood. There are no rules in Hollywood.
Well, also, it's one of those movies where, also, like many good horror movies, it just leaves a lot of things mysterious. It's more like, again, it's more like a nasty ass fable than it is something that's supposed to be. It is sort of sci-fi horror, but it's also sort of like a fable. There's a lot of things here where, they know that this doesn't make sense, but they don't mean it to. It's an exaggeration.
Okay.
And a lot of that works because, like many good horror movies out there, they leave a lot of things mysterious. And they intentionally do not answer those questions. Because there's some very basic questions with this, like, who is making the substance? Why are they making the substance? Are they aware, whoever's making this, the very horrible side effects of the substance? Is this a part of some, evil experiment? And how are they getting away with selling this shit? Because it is not FDA approved at all. And I know a lot of things are not FDA approved, but this would be illegal. They would not allow, this is some shit you keep in the lab and you keep experimenting on rats with. You don't put this out there with people, much less start marketing it with thumb drives with an infomercial on it.
Have you ever dreamt of a better version of yourself? This is the substance.
Now that's about as much explanation that you're going to get as far as maybe some science applied to this. After that, anything kind of goes. And there's always, the reason why it works is because there's always this creepiness and not knowing who's behind this. That's the reason why something like, you remember Cube?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like with Cube, you didn't know who these people were doing this. They were just doing really messed up things to people. And that's kind of what's going on here. All of this is crazy. Just some guy calling you up and saying, hey, yeah, trust us. Inject this into your body. And, not knowing who the organization behind a thing like this, what their purpose is, that keeps you guessing, and it just really makes it creepy. The only thing that might make this less creepy is the element of, that's what you get. Like you said.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to do this? Why would you want to do this shit? It's not, so here's the thing. And again, this doesn't matter. This is part of this being a fable. With this, it's not making it's not making you better. It's making a better you.
Yeah.
You're just creating a separate person that's, younger and better looking than you, that gets to go out and have fun while your ass sits back and just watches them go out and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, you're still sitting at home feeling like shit.
Yeah.
You're not feeling, it's not really making your life better at all.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the advantage.
Well, there is. I mean, the perspective of the movie is from someone in Hollywood, and like he was saying at the beginning, like she's just turned 50 and she's not going to be able to keep working. And Hollywood is extremely competitive.
Oh, yeah.
And her dream of just always being the it girl is what drives her to want to use the substance. And personally, for me, I got that. As someone who lived in LA, who knows the culture, this made sense to me.
I don't.
But
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense to me because if your ego is that big, why are you looking at something that's going to make you more jealous?
right, you'd make you jealous of yourself. Plus, okay, well now, this version of you is going out to get these roles you couldn't before, but it's not like this version of you shows up and people don't go like, weren't you 50 2 days ago?
Now that's a flaw to me in the movie. It didn't bother me because I was just looking at so many other things that were going on that were well done in the film. But that is one thing, and it's almost like there is, it's part of the lesson where I can see what you're saying to a certain point where you are so driven by the need for attention and love and ego boost that you're not clear. You're just thinking like, all right, I'm going to put this person out there and I'm going to live through them. And initially you could say at the beginning, this person's like, I'm just going to live vicariously through them and maybe, reap some benefits. And then of course it gets out of hand. But really from the beginning, you can look at it as two ways. You can look at it as none of this makes any goddamn sense. I understand why she would do this. And to a certain extent, I don't. But the other is, all right, this person is not thinking clearly. They just want, even if it's living through somebody else, they want that adoration. But yeah, I was questioning the same thing. I don't see the benefits in this at all.
Yeah.
If I found myself doing this, I'll wake up and beat their ass. You gotta go. You mean you after living what's supposed to be my life and rubbing it in my face and you get back?
Well, I know back from like the 50s and 60s, there were so many sci-fi stories written, especially for the radio dramas, with somebody they're all variations on the same thing, where somebody went through a corporation and got an android duplicate of themselves who could do like, oh, you'll deal with my bitch wife and do my job, and I can run around with my girlfriend and all this. And it always backfired on them in the same way, to where the android takes over and then they get rid of.
Well, I think
they're gotten rid of.
Well, maybe they said this, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I think it would have made more sense if they had said, all right, you know what? I'm not you. All right, I've accepted. You're better looking than I am. You're younger than me. Your ass is tighter than me. Titties bigger than mine, and everything. But go out there and get some money and we'll split it or something. Like you say, I can't work, so you make the money. I guess I'll just have to sit back and just spend the money, and then we'll have this working relationship. They didn't really establish that. I don't think. I think that would have been better. But again, like I said, there's a lot left mysterious here. I wouldn't accept it for that.
Kind of implied what you're saying. Kind of.
Okay. But I would tell you, man, they keep throwing the words around, body horror. And there's one man that you think, if you're in the movies, there's one man you think of when it comes to body horror. That's David Cronenberg.
The man himself.
Yeah, and he's done some body horror classics, anywhere from small cult classics like Videodrome to one of his big mainstream movies, The Fly. And so it's if you're fans of that and you like being squeamish because bodies are just getting mangled and turning into things that are just nasty, then this is a throwback to that, and you'll like that. I kind of like that stuff,
And this movie's kissing ass of a lot of Cronenberg's best. I mean, you saw just now in the trailer the close up of the lips. It's right out of Videodrome.
Yeah. So, I like that aspect of it, that it's a throwback to David Cronenberg, but also it just feels like a horror movie from the 80s in a way. Not all the way, in a way, because, they're using a lot of practical effects in here. They're using a lot of practical effects. I mean, that's one of the great things about this film when it comes to marketing. You get a movie out there, if they can, they'll show you the whole goddamn movie.
Yeah, true.
This, they can't even show you half this movie, as nasty as it is.
Oh, okay.
This movie's, like I said, they use a lot of practical effects in here. And a lot of that has to do, it just made my flesh crawl, man. You know, I mean, there's hardly, and you couldn't get the same effect with CG because, you know, with this movie right here, they're doing a lot of poking into the body, pulling stuff out the body, mangling skin, you know, and you got to make it seem like when you're doing this, you got to make it seem like it's real flesh you're doing that to.
And close-ups of scars and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Needles going into everything. You know, I mean, you listen, if you saw it and it was CG, it ain't going to have the same effect. You'd be like, that shit ain't real. But when you see something that feels like real skin and you just keep poking into it and cutting it open and pulling shit out of it, it's like, oh, man, you know, I was disgusted, and like I said, my flesh was crawling, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. I really was getting off on that. I liked it.
Well, that sounds like Cronenberg, everything you just said.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did not eat watching this movie.
You didn't want to eat spaghetti while you watched this?
I didn't want to eat I didn't want to eat nothing. Shit, I didn't want to eat air watching this movie. It's just nasty. This has been the year of nasty movies, man. There's a lot of nasty stuff come out of the body. I mean, and they're also poking pus-filled areas and with needles and all. You know, I mean, listen, it's funny because it's still not as bad as that old woman in the other movie.
He's literally evil.
People, this is the front room right here. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
That old woman in this movie, she was shitting and pissing through that whole film, and shit and piss for me trumps poking flesh. And I couldn't eat watching this movie right here. Not quite on that low. That old woman still has it. But like I said, you know, with this, it's if you were squeamish, needles bother you, cuts bother you, blood bothers you, guts bother you. Be warned, there's a lot of that in this film, and you are, it's going to make you uncomfortable through the whole experience. For some people, that'd be a good uncomfortable, but if you really don't like that stuff, then avoid this film. I'll tell you that right now. And it's not just fluids and mangled flesh in here that are nasty. I told you, man, that's close-ups of people eating in this movie, and there's people kissing in this movie with sloppy sounds. Like, this movie really goes out of its way to just make life seem like the nastiest thing. Like, I mean, you know, I just want to leave my body. I was like, damn, I'm nasty. I'm not even doing anything.
Yeah.
Like, and the movie's directed by a woman. I was kind of proud. I was like, it's nice to see a woman be as sick and nasty as any guy out there. Like, she really is she's a twisted woman.
No, she brought it. I love the creativity behind this movie and the artsiness and the thoughtfulness of everything in this movie. Like, you're right. There's a lot of questions that it may not answer, but it presents enough in front of you that if you really think, it'll give you something to think about, and it'll fill in those gaps. At least it did for me.
I want to be careful how much I really emphasize the gross out parts of this movie, because it's not gross out stuff for, well, in a way, maybe, but there's a reason why they do all of this, because this is a statement about women's bodies and body image and the pressure that women feel to appear a certain way, you know, and how we make women feel after a certain period, when actually these women are still beautiful. So, you know, they're doing it for a reason. First of all, they're showing Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, who we'll talk about in a little bit. You know, they're nude in a lot of this movie. And at first I thought it was gratuitous, but they do it for a reason. And, you know, they're showing you the body image that society expects before they just tear that shit up. You know, so there's a contrast that they want to show you, and that's pretty cool, because, you know, all this stuff would seem probably gross out for the sake of just grossing you out, or it would seem like it's gratuitous if the direction wasn't so good in this movie. I mean, this movie is very well directed, and the editing has a lot to do with that. Demi Moore is just losing it. They're driving her ass crazy. The moment they're telling her she's too old to be in this job, she's just panicked. And a lot of the editing and camera work together very well to give that feeling of being just desperate and frantic to get something back. A lot of times she's walking, it's like the cameraman's walking behind her, falling and shit, trying to keep up with her, because she's walking fast and the camera's very shaky and jiggly, and then the editing is very manic. So the direction, the camera work, and the editing work together to give you this real experience of being what this, or make you feel what this woman feels like in her head at the moment.
And the cinematography is also very rich. Like, there's really excellent foreshadowing in this movie that you don't see coming. But the thing that I want to ask about what you just said is, Did you think that the pacing for this was good? Because I loved it. And this movie is long. It's over 2 hours.
I think it's a little bit too long, just a little bit, but I agree the pacing is great because, again, it's a steady movie. You know, it's steadily building up to the dread that you know is going to happen at some point because they start breaking those rules early in the movie. And I think it's a great thing what you said about the cinematography because the cinematography is there to kind of contrast what's going on with the body stuff, the body horror in the movie, because everything looks very sterilized. Everything looks very clean. Mm-hmm. Everything's very neat. And I dare say that this director, not only was she influenced by somebody like David Cronenberg, I think she was very much influenced by Stanley Kubrick.
Absolutely.
Because everything, part of that sterilized look at this movie is everything being symmetrical. And Stanley Kubrick was known for his symmetry in his cinematography. So everything is orderly, everything is shiny, everything is white and just looks very spotless, so that when things start going wrong with the body, you know, you really feel it because it's staining all this great cinematography that's going on in the movie. You know, it's like when you spill something on the floor and your mama yells at you, you know, goddamn, I just cleaned this house. You spilling shit all on the floor. You know, so it's really great direction and a lot of great technical stuff going on with this movie. So it's not shallow. So when you hear that, man, that's a nasty ass movie, you know, don't just rest on that. There's a lot of great creativity and thought that goes into a lot of the filmmaking right here. Also, like I love how this feels like the 80s, just not because of the horror stuff here. I mean, it's not the 80s, but I think it really is a throwback to the 80s in a way. I mean, because you think about it, you know, one of the things that they do in the movie, aerobics. You know, it's a whole aerobics craze in this movie that feels like something when everybody was doing jazzercise and aerobicise, you know, Jane Fonda.
Yeah, let's get physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
there's that frame right there that was, you know, a reference to Videodrome.
Yeah. And it does that thing where you kind of at first you're like, when does this take place, you know? And that's what I wanted to ask you is, did this remind you at all? Because you say 80s, and I agree. Yeah. But did this remind you at all of Black Mirror? Because that's what I was thinking watching this. I was like, this feels like a full idea for Black Mirror that they extended into a movie.
It definitely. No, I can see that. No, I could definitely see that. Too nasty for Black Mirror. And here's another thing to probably, if you think you're going to go in and this is going to be too sick for you and this is something that you don't want to see because it's so dark, keep in mind it's also a comedy. It's very much a comedy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hilarious.
Oh, okay.
No.
I did not get that from the trailers.
No, it's very much a comedy, and one of the people to really sell this as a comedy with their performance is Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid in this movie. There's a lot of people who, by design, are cartoon characters, and he's definitely one of them. You know, he's pretty much a caricature of a sexist and also a powerful white male.
Okay, he feels like all the worst things you've ever heard about a Hollywood exec, down to chomping on cigarettes.
Yeah, you know, talking about it, looking at women all the time, talking about my wife. Oh, I love my wife. You
but I love that ass more.
Yeah. You know, he's just a shallow TV exec and producer who doesn't care about, he only cares about ratings. I would say maybe some of these characters in this movie might be too goofy for some people, and I would get that. But as somewhat of again, I keep throwing this word around, somewhat as a fable, I can see why they make these characters as exaggerated as they are. You know, and listen, I know, Martin, you told me I shouldn't like him, but I mean, you know I love Dennis Quaid.
I know you do. I know you love Dennis Quaid.
He's really good in this. Man. Every time he came on, he was making me laugh.
Dennis Quaid, I know. Listen, I don't. His politics, I don't know about. I've heard
you don't want to know,
and I don't want to know nothing about him. I already learned one thing about him I don't want to hear. Dennis Quaid, I heard he's kind of a dick, and somebody who now listen, I can't really say this is true or not, but it's somebody that I'm very close to who works in the service industry, and they said Dennis Quaid was walking their dog in the lobby of this hotel, and you're not supposed to have dogs in this part of the hotel, and they went over there and did that job and said, excuse me, Mr. Quaid, could you take your dog to the next room? The animals aren't allowed in here. And he looked at that person and said, F off. So So he's probably playing this character very well because he is that guy. But listen, I can't help it, man. Ever since them Quaid boys got crazy, I've been loving them. Except that they make two different kinds of content. Randy Quaid makes crazy shit in hotel rooms with his crazy wife and his dog.
Yeah, traveling the country or
Den-
Canada.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid puts this shit right on cinema, man. First of all, I started loving crazy Dennis Quaid when he was in that movie, The Intruder. These people that black women undressing and taking shots.
Just go for it.
Yeah. I love Crazy Quaid. Or, you know my favorite one.
Oh, I know. Breakfast.
What the
He's like, hey, man, what was
That's his son that movie. His son said, you know what? I'm not hungry. And he was like, okay, all right, I just cooked this shit for nothing.
Bitch slapped him with a plate of eggs.
With the eggs. I can't help but love Dennis Quaid. And he's if you thought he was an asshole in those movies, like he's perfected it for this. Yeah.
Those were the warm-ups.
Demi Moore is at that age now. And I ain't gonna say because she's old, she's like, all right, fuck it, I'm desperate now, I'm gonna show everything. No.
She was showing everything before.
Yeah.
You can go back to striptease.
Exactly.
She's showing everything.
Exactly. So, you know, she's still putting it out there. She's got a great body. She's still a beautiful woman. But, you know, she's at that point now where it's kind of like, hey, listen, I ain't got to play the Hollywood game. You know, I got my money. I'm older now. So this is a crazy role for her. And she's all in. Her ass went crazy right with this movie. She's part of the craziness of this movie.
Okay.
Yeah, really, man. You know, she's in it for the insanity of it all. The character is disturbing and she's having the most fun with it. That's part of the joy of playing a character like this. She just gets to let go. She gets to let go, being a character that's desperate. She gets to let go being a character that's driven insane. She gets to let go when she starts being covered in lots of prosthetics and just become a whole other gross character, man. You know, she's allowed to play with a lot here. And a lot of it she's done nude. You know, so because one, like you said, she's already showed everybody, but she's like, shit, I still got it. And she does. She looks amazing in this, and she is amazing. When they say it's one of the best roles that she's had in a long time, it's true.
Yeah,
I think.
like you said, she totally throws herself into it, and her commitment is amazing to watch. The whole time, like, she has one of these awesome concepts for a character where I love looking at people who are assholes, but that can run thin. But the way that they play it out, and a lot of it has to do with the editing. And also, I wanted to ask you, the sound, what did you think? Because I thought that played into it very well.
Yeah, like I said, when people are kissing and, you know, things that are supposed to be beautiful, they make it ugly here. Just make it nasty. You know, everything, the sound editing, you're right, is great. For one, all the gross sounds in it, but as people start to just kind of lose a grip on reality, or their senses kind of get distorted, everybody's starting and the sound, you're right. Just like with the visuals and the shaky editing and the camera work, the sound just makes this movie just, it makes everything so disorienting that you feel like you're going through what these characters are going through when things start getting bad.
And even though there's a lot of stuff in this movie, I won't go into detail of what it is, but there's a lot of stuff in here where you could point and be like, that's a cliche. But because of the way that it all plays out, you don't mind. At least I didn't.
No, it's again, a movie can do a couple of things. They can try to explain everything, and then you can just start poking holes in everything they lay out, or they can leave things mysterious and just really hit the high points and then leave it up to you. And sometimes you might like it, but sometimes, you know, you might be like, well, I like not knowing. And that's what I liked with this. Margaret Qualley, man, she's starting to show her diverse range.
She's got a great agent. She's been popping up everywhere.
And I can see why, man. You know, listen, I've seen her as a hippie, a butch lesbian. Now she's a TV sex object. And she's nailing everything she's doing, man. She's really one of the brightest young talents out there that's coming up right now, you know. So she's very good in this, man. I don't know, man. Like I said, I think this is definitely a movie that's appealing to my weirdness. You know how I love weird shit like this. You know that.
Do. Yes,
you know,
do.
back in the day, I used to love when we come out watching weird stuff. Martin be like, Martin sometimes be like, man, get away from me. You know,
I don't even know you right
just
now.
You're just weird, man. Just get away from me, man. Like that bullshit up in there. I'm like, hey, you know me, I'm crazy. So I'm letting y'all know because y'all know Julian's crazy. So, you know, I'm being very careful saying, listen to us, but I really do think that it's a smart film that's even better directed. And like I said, I love the technical qualities of this. And maybe that's what also makes it me not ask a whole lot of questions. It's the right balance because this is a very dark, disturbing movie. And I think having this be a comedy really kind of eases that and makes us, you know, takes it to the point from being too disturbed to actually being fun. And I just love the concept, you know, because they really do go out of their way to explain, while there's some stuff I'll keep saying that they left mysterious, they do a good job at explaining why these two are so, you know, dependent on each other, why you have to follow the rules. If it's a movie about following rules, at least explain why those rules must be followed. And they do a good job at saying, this is why, if you don't give this person 7 days to rest, you're going to mess up everything, and you're going to be sorry about it. But also, I love how cold the company that puts out the substance. And every time something messes up, and they say, "Hey, listen, this is going wrong right here. Help me out." And they're like, "Did you follow the rules?" well, yeah, fuck you. You know, that's the thing about it. It's a very big message about not following rules, but you know, being pretty much relying on yourself, being proud of yourself, being confident enough of yourself, not depending on somebody else out there to dictate that for you, because it really can mess you up. Now, we usually talk about mentally, and then everybody gets body dysmorphia, and you know, you start doing harmful things right there. That's kind of what it's a play on. Of course, here it takes more disturbing side effects, and you know, you see more tragic things that happen with these people. But I do think it's a very smart film with that message.
It is. It has an incredible amount of depth. Something like this could have just been really lame and just been like one effect after another. But it is a movie that is deep, and it knows it, and it plays it out in a smart way. Like just thinking about the title, the substance. Like there's a classic saying, "Oh, some people don't have any substance. You know, they're empty vessels." Like in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's actually very good.
Yeah, there's so many ways to like think about this movie. And after I saw it, man, this shit was playing on a loop in my brain. I don't know if you're ready to give the rating, but I'll go first if you want.
Yeah, you know, go ahead.
I wrote on my comment card because they asked me to do one because the lady saw how much I was enjoying the movie. Because like by the end of it, I was just like, I was losing my shit. I wrote on my comment card, this is Kubrick combined with Cronenberg and a couple other things and a Requiem for a Dream, and I loved it. I think that this movie speaks to my sensibilities of all the things that I love, the practical effects, the smart performances, the artsiness behind it. I mean, this movie right here, I'm ready to call it just the be end all of the Hollywood dream. You know, like, oh, I want to be the big star. It's like, this is the last one that we need. And that's all I'll say about it. This is my favorite movie of the year. Surprise, surprise, better than Sex. Amazing. Go watch it, God damn it.
Yeah, not as high as the Better Than Sex, but because I do think, as I told you, the movie does have legitimate questions that could be asked, and I can't blame you for asking. You ain't even seen the movie.
Okay.
And you nailed one of the biggest questions in here. Why the hell would you do this? And I was saying the same thing. But also, I think, as I mentioned before, some characters might be a little too silly for people, because especially with the male characters. The male characters are very much cartoons in this movie. I think that's on purpose, but some people might not like that. That might be a little too silly for them. But mostly this worked for me. You know, I love unconventional, insane movies, and especially when it's horror films, and especially when they're well directed and have these fun performances like they did here. For me, I just don't know where these movies are going to go. I kind of guessed right here what would happen, but still, these movies take so many insane twists and turns. I don't know where they're going to go. So for me, it's a low full price, but I still enjoyed this. Especially now that we're getting like some very interesting horror movies from females out there.
Sure.
We have Blink Twice. That was done by Zoe Kravitz. And now we got this director. What's this director's name?
I forget.
You showed it. It's when it first comes on.
Yeah, I'll just put her name right there.
Cool.
Yeah. Coralie Fargyat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know what she's done before, but I really enjoyed this, and I would love to see what she does next. And yes, I would love to see her do another horror film. I don't know, maybe she's a new female Cronenberg. I don't know. But I think did an excellent job with this movie right here. So yeah, low full price for me. Well, you made it to the end of the video. That must mean you really like what we do. So if you do, check out these other videos just like this one. Check out our other YouTube channels and subscribe to join our wonderful Toasty community. And as always, stay toasty.